Hi everyone and welcome to episode 15 of our ConfigMas 2022. My name is Johan and in this demo you will learn how to create Win32 apps in Intune using PowerShell. And that means demo time. Now what I have here is a PowerShell script that does exactly that. Create an app in Intune, in this case Adobe Acrobat Reader. The script is using the Intune Win32 app module from Nikolai Anderson. This has been around for a good 2 years. I have his blog post available here when it was released, and I will share the link to this one below the video. Now, if I go to PowerShell Gallery, search for that particular module, you can see that it's been downloaded well over 30,000 times. And there are quite a number of revisions over the years in that module. I will showcase a recent change in the module that will allow you to upload large applications to Intune. So, to give you some context, earlier this summer, I was spending a good few weeks in a proof of concept to deploy really large applications using Intune. Because Intune by default supports only 8 gig of apps or applications that are 8 gig max size. I needed more. I was deploying Adobe Suite 2022 and the package I was using with that combination of applications was over 20 gigs in size. So what I had to do first was to increase that limit by submitting a support case. And sure enough, after a few weeks, I got the request approved and my limit was now bumped up to 30 gig rather than 8 gigs. Now, the second problem became actually uploading the app to Intune, creating the app in Intune. Because no matter what I did, it would time out, and time out. PowerShell interface didn't matter. So in fact, what I ended up doing in the beginning, I actually subscribed to a Windows 365 cloud PC. That obviously is much closer to Azure than my machine is at home. And that way I was able to upload it. But then after talking to some community folks and get some feedback over from Jose here, that came up with the idea of using the AC copy utility to upload the app. And sure enough, after some discussions, Nicola actually added that function into the script. So if I go down here to the script, to the section that actually creates the app, you can see I'm using the use AZ copy function. This is highly recommended if you have apps that are more than a few hundred megs and you want to upload them very, very quickly. And it's an absolute requirement if you need to upload applications that are anything from 4 or 5 gigs up to 20-25 gigs. Now, if I look in the one of the public functions here, you can see that the script is now using this particular function here. It's a private function, and that function is in turn downloading that utility and use it later in the process. Now, if I run this script section by section, here are all the settings that you normally would have to type into Intune when you add an application. Everything from the name, description, to where I have my root files for the application. If I go to that folder here, you can see I have my Adobe Reader file, but I do not yet have a package in the package folder. I have the installer that the content prep tool needs. I have the command line and the uninstall command line. I have added in a delivery optimization priority option because by default apps in Intune are set to background download. And you will actually double the speed when downloading the apps if you switch it to foreground. Not if the app is like 2 megs in size, then it really doesn't matter. But if you deploy in apps like Office, you will find that the download time is like half. Detection file, detection folder, the architecture, the minimum Windows release, and the group in Active Directory, in Azure Active Directory that I would like to add the application to. So if I import the module here, and I'm just going to show you the version I'm currently using. This is version 1.3.6, which has the AZ copy functionality. I'm going to connect to my tenant. I'm going to connect with that ID. Now I can make sure that the group exists that I wanted to assign the application to. So I'm running this line here, and if all goes well, I will have a object ID for that group in here. I'm doing some basic checks, making sure that the target folder exists, making sure the source folder exists, and then I'm ready to go ahead and create the application. This function here, or this line here, will create the actual package using the content prep tool. This one here create the detection rule, this one here the requirement rule, and this one create the actual application. And here you can see that indeed I have the use AC copy enabled here, and then in my assignment to the group I have the delivery optimization priority configured. So if I collapse this function here, or function snippet, it should create the application. First thing is going to use the content prep tool to create the package. It goes fairly quick because Adobe Reader is only like 200 megs or so. That is done. If I go back to that folder I showed you earlier, this one now has that .intune win file in it. Here you can see AC copy is introduced to do the actual file transfer. The file upload has completed, and a cool function in this script snippet that controls this is also that it refreshes the token every now and then. So if you have long running uploads, they won't interrupt after a little while, or they won't break after a while. But now the application has been created. If I scroll down a little bit further in the script, here is just the function that lists that application from Intune together with its size. So sure enough, the application is there. If I go to my Intune portal, go to my applications, and search for Adobe. Here is my demo to Adobe. You can see it was assigned. If I do properties here, here is the command lines, here is the assignment to the demo apps group, and as you can see over here, it does do content download in foreground. So that's all it takes to create an app in Intune using PowerShell. There are some other things you can of course do as well. In this example here, I have a PowerShell script that creates not just one application, but a bunch of applications. So basically what I have here is let me just run these settings and I'll show you. I have a folder where I have a subfolder structure with packages that doesn't do much. They're just there to allow you to test and verify that application deployment works correctly of all different sizes. So the script here simply make a list of all these folders, but only the first folder level. And then it goes ahead and for each of those folders, it actually creates an application in Intune. Not going to run the script because it takes a while, but I ran it earlier. So if I go over to my tenant here, go back to my applications, and search for peer-to-peer, sure enough, here are all those applications created. And I found it very, very useful to have applications like this that I can run over and over again for testing, to making sure my delivery optimizations are correctly, to making sure my cache servers are working correctly, things like that. But that's all for now. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you again tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day. Bye for now.